Why is it always the 10mm?
The Rover 25 CVT is back for more. This time we're changing the coolant outlet elbow gasket. It's been leaking for a little while, causing a gradual drop in the expansion tank coolant level. It took a while to pin down, but I spotted the staining below it when I was working on another part of the car from underneath. Changing it is really simple. You'll need an 8mm socket for the elbow bolts, a 10mm socket or spanner to disconnect the battery, a screwdriver for the hose clamps, and finally some wet and dry paper to clean up both the elbow and the mating surface of the cylinder head. Oh, and of course, a torque wrench. The setting for the bolts holding the elbow to the head is 9Nm. I'll pop all the part numbers, including the gasket itself and those bolts in case you need to replace them, at the end of the video.
So this is leaking, and that's what we're going to be changing. Coolant system needs to be drained, and we're also going to change the coolant tank because it's filthy, and I've got a new one right here. And the problem with this is the access to the bolts isn't the best because there's things in the way, and that's going to be a nightmare to clean as well. So, endless fun. Oh, the cam cover gasket's leaking too. Oh. As with all things Rover, this job may have just got more complicated. Next up, taking things off. So this hose clip underneath, 2 bolts at the top, that'll pull away. Then down here we have coolant temp sensor, 2 hose clips and the rather hidden bolts, but once we've got everything else out of the way, they should be a little bit easier to get to. Nice and easy. Maybe. So, coolant tank is on, just going to attach that top coolant line. I've got rid of this clip because, gotta be honest, I'm just not a fan. I'd rather use a standard hose clip. And I know someone's going to say, oh, but they're better, ooh, but it's fine. I prefer these. They're a lot easier to remove and reuse, and we've got a nice big box of them, Parkside branded from Lidl, because no expense spared. As with working on any older vehicle, you will find problems as you go, and as you can see, the end of this coolant hose, which is the top radiator hose, is a bit battered. So I'm going to see if we can order one of these new. I'll put a part number at the end of the video along with availability. It's currently July 2025, and if you're watching after this, bear in mind it may not apply because parts are getting more scarce rather than more available as a rule. That's a bit of a pain. I'm sort of hoping if I cut it there, it'll be okay. I had it right here. Why is it always the 10mm? Ignore me, I'm just stupid. Let's get this last one out. Nope, out. No! Might need to move the car. But we do have an elbow with 1 bolt. Okay, so it's off. There's one part, and there's the other. As you can see, silicone has been used because the garage who did the head gasket mustn't have had a gasket on hand. And rather than spend a couple of quid and wait a day, they've just covered it in snot. So, thanks for that, guys, whoever you are. Really making my day easier.
So this was actually a lot more difficult to clean up than I thought it would be. As you can see, we had to get the wire wheel of justice out to do the work for us. Yeah, not overly happy with how pitted it was either, but I wanted the car back on the road the same day and couldn't really wait for a replacement to arrive, but they are still available new if yours is particularly bad.
Cleaned up to a reasonable degree. It's never going to be perfect, but it's much better than it was, and all the old bits of gasket are off it. Next we're going to use our good old friend wet and dry, give it a good clean on there to get a nice flat surface, because it's a little bit pitted from years of erosion, I'm guessing, because the coolant that was in the car wasn't really coolant, it was more just water. So that's not done anything any favours. Right, that's much better. It's never going to be perfect because, as I said before, it's a little bit pitted. And we've cleaned this part up too. And that on the sort of bottom left you can see, weird bit of casting left over, but it was there before and it's sealed, so I guess it'll be okay. Let's put it all back together and see what happens. Well, I have a disadvantage that I was only born with 2 hands, which I believe is quite a common problem. So to make this job easier, put the bottom bolt in, halfway in like this with the gasket swinging down, and then just flip the gasket up, then put the top bolt in while you hold it sort of round with your other hand. Took a while for me to figure that out, longer than I probably should be proud of, but yeah, not the easiest, just because of the access, that's all. Without the airbox in the way here, it would be much easier. Everything is loosely reattached, and now it's time for the magic tool. You've got bored of me saying this already, I can tell, but use a torque wrench. 20 quid from Amazon, nice and easy to adjust, has a calibration certificate. Even if it's not spot on, it's going to be much better than doing it by feel with a normal 1/4 inch ratchet. So treat yourself, 20 quid, got it set to 9 Newton meters. Use a torque wrench. Please save yourself the aggro of a snap bolt or something coming undone prematurely. A little tip I was given recently is that if you want to cut a hose, put a hose clamp on the hose itself fairly tight, and then use a hacksaw to cut along the clamp, and it'll just chew through the rubber fairly easily, so I'm told, leaving you with a nice, fairly straight, clean cut. Because as we all know, trying to cut a hose without any kind of aid, it just sort of looks awful. So give that a go. Well, this doesn't happen much, but I am absolutely blown away. You can see the old bit of hose there. Apologies for the shaky camera work. That's really gone. But the cut from that technique is impressively good. So yeah, recommended. I'm going to keep that one in the little box of life hacks I can use on all my other awful broken cars.
Finally, we just need to bleed the cooling system. So you'll want to set the heaters inside the car to hot. The engine doesn't need to be running, and the expansion tank of course needs to be about halfway where it should be. Undo this bolt and wait for coolant to appear. Once it does, pop the bolt back in, and now you can start the engine, and what I normally do is just remove the bolt again after the engine's been running for a minute or two. You should feel that you have warm air coming through the heater vents at this point, and once you do, that means that enough air is out the system for it to function correctly, and any last little pockets remaining will work their way out during normal use. If you do struggle to bleed the air out of the system, try giving the top hose a squeeze with the engine running. That'll help any pockets of air that are trapped to move through the little bleed pipe where you can see run into the expansion tank and hopefully get the coolant flowing nicely. So that was a wonderfully easy job, and the best part is this is about a week later and the car hasn't used a single drop of coolant. Nothing. So the coolant leak I've been chasing for a fairly long time, getting on for 2 years now, it was that gasket all along. So really easy to do. If you've got a coolant leak you just can't get to the bottom of, have a look. I saw it from underneath because you can see where the coolant sort of runs down the block. See if it's there on yours, because I'm over the moon. It's been a constant source of frustration because I've changed quite a bit on that car over the years, but here we are, the coolant leak's now fixed, and thank you for watching the video. I hope it's helped you, and if you've enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and hopefully they'll all be that simple. Catch you next time.